Good morning, class. Welcome back to the last and the final video of the first chapter. Before we proceed with the chapter, let's do a quick recap of what we have studied in video 1 and video 2. First of all, we have studied that in 1154 CE, Al-Adrisi, an Arab geographer who has drawn the world map. From there we have taken a portion of the map which consists of Indian subcontinents, but that time people were not very much aware of the exact locations. So whatever they considered or he considered, he has presented the map in that way. 600 years after him, that is in 1720, a French cartographer has drawn another map, and we can see that map has lot of similarity with the map which we see nowadays. Whereas the map which Edrisi had drawn was like upside down, you can say. Then we have learned about the term cartographer, that is a person who draws maps. We have studied about the problems which the historians were facing that time. There was no printing press in the medieval period. The manuscripts were handwritten. So the scribes who copied those manuscripts, they had their own shortcomings. That is, the manuscripts were handwritten, and at times they misunderstood the word which was originally written, and they wrote what they felt should have been there. Gradually we had lot of manuscripts and people couldn't understand which was the original one. Then we can say that language has also changed over time. Now we have discussed about the term Hindustan, which has changed meaning since that time. In 3rd century BC, the Indus plains were called Hindustan by the in the inscription of Iran, where in the early medieval period, that is the Arabs, they referred the term Hindustan, or they used the term Hindustan for the land between Indus and the Ganga Yamuna Doab. Whereas now we are using this term in a totally and completely different manner. So this is all what we have studied till now. Let's continue. Oh yes, we have studied about the social groups which came up in that time period. There was Rajputs, Sikhs, Jats, Ahoms. Gradually they were absorbed in the caste system, and like initially we had the caste system was based that according to the work the person did, but gradually the meaning changed. And when the forests were cleared, agriculture was expanded, then people started acquiring different jobs accordingly. Forest dwellers, they migrated to cities. Some of them, they started cultivation, that is practicing agriculture. Brahmins, they had their importance in the society because they were having the knowledge of Sanskrit language, so they were given preference or the importance by the royal family. Forest dwellers, they had to pay taxes. Then came up the caste, subcaste system, that is the jatis. Then we have studied about the patrons who supported these Brahmins. Then the history was divided into three periods according to the Britishers. First one was Hindu, second was Muslim, and the third was Britishers. I hope you all have done the questions which I have given you in the previous videos. The short questions you have to do online itself. The long ones you have to do it in your copies. Today we will be finishing off the chapter, and then I will be giving you the answers to the questions which are there at the back of your chapter. There are total 12 questions. We are going to do all the questions in the copy. Let's begin with the chapter. Thinking about time and historical periods. Historians do not see time just as a passing of hours, days, or years as a clock or a calendar. Time also reflects changes in social and economic organization, in the persistence and transformation of ideas and beliefs. The study of time is made somewhat easier by dividing the past into large segments, periods that possess shared characteristics. So, like for us, when we talk about passing time, you can easily relate it to nowadays when we are having this lockdown. For us, we are passing 1 hour by watching television, then 2 hours, gradually a day passes, we keep on clicking the calendars, crossing the days. That is the way we are passing the days. But for historians, passing a day is something different. They have to see, keep in track what is socially and economically happening around the world. They have to keep a check of it, they jot it down, and accordingly they divide this into different periods and different segments. In the middle of 19th century, British historians divided the history of India into three periods: Hindu, Muslim, and British. The division was based on the idea that the religion of rulers was the only important historical change and that there were no other significant developments in the economy, society, or culture. Such a division also ignored the rich diversity of the subcontinent. So, the Britishers who have divided history into three parts, they have given preference to the religion which the rulers of that period were following. They have ignored the condition of the society, their culture, the economy. These things have been ignored by the you can say the Britishers. Few historians follow this periodization today. Most look to economic and social factors to characterize the major elements of different moments of the past. The histories you read last year included a wide range of early societies, hunter gatherers, early farmers, people living in towns and villages, and early empires and kingdoms. The histories you will be studying this year are often described as medieval. You will find out more about the spread of peasant societies, the rise of regional and imperial state formations, sometimes at the cost of pastoral and forest people, the development of Hinduism and Islam as major religion, and the arrival of Europe trading companies. So you can say that few historians they follow the periodization done by the Britishers, but many of them look to economic and social factors. What they characterize, like they feel that or they jot down the major elements related to the social factors, the economic changes that took place, and the history which you have studied last year, that is in your class 6, included the ancient history, in which you have studied about the hunter gatherers, how how their life evolved, how the early farming began, and how they lived in the towns and cities. This year you will be studying the medieval portion, and you will find out about the peasant society, the rise of the regional and imperial state, how they formed up, and the traditions and the culture of this period. These 1,000 years of Indian history were witnessed considerable change. After all, the 16th and 18th centuries were quite different from the 8th or the 11th. Therefore, describing the entire period as one historical unit is not without its problems. Moreover, the medieval period is often contrasted with the modern period. Modernity carries with it a sense of material progress and intellectual advancement. This seems to suggest that the medieval period was lacking in any change whatsoever. But of course, we know this was not the case. So, when we talk about history, we cannot say that we cannot talk about it as in one go, discussing about the lifestyle of the people, the religion, their social culture, social and cultural practices, etc. So the thousands of years India witnessed, like the time period between 16th and 18th century was different from the 8th and 11th. There you must have heard your parents say that in our times we used to do this, nowadays you do not do these things. So obviously that is the time change, the time span has changed. Same ways, like what you have studied last year will not be similar to what you will be studying this year. And same ways, when we talk about the modern history, it will be completely different from medieval history which you are going to study this year. Modernity, carries with its sense of material progress and intellectual advancement. That means the when you study about the modern time period, you will study about the technological advancement which took place in this period. Fine. During these 1,000 years, the societies of the subcontinent were transformed often, and economies in several regions reached a level of prosperity that attracted this interest of European trading companies. As you read this book, look out for signs of change and the historical processes at work. Also, whenever you can, compare what you read in this book with what you read last year. Look out for changes and continuities wherever you can. And look at the world around you to see what else has changed or remained the same. As you will read the chapter, you will see that the societies who were living in the subcontinent, they gradually prospered, and that was the reason which attracted the foreign companies and the traders. When you read the chapters in this book, try to make a link between what you have read last year, so that like you can understand it this way, that if you're watching some the daily soaps, and if you miss 2 or 3 episodes, then you forget the link and it is difficult to understand what has happened. So same ways, to understand the serial you have to watch the episodes which you have missed. Same ways, if you have to understand the history, you have to create a link between the ancient, in the medieval, and then to the modern history. That is going to help you all. Fine. After this video, please go through the question answers given and do it in your classwork copies. Thank you everybody. Take care. Be safe at home.